What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today I've got another magic review for you guys. I'm taking a look at Thom Parkin's trainer deck. Before I get started, let's just go over the winner of my last contest, of my last Chronicles review. I mentioned I was going to name the winner today, and the winner is, by complete random selection, Dominique Harry. So Dominique, you have won this issue. If you send me an email, then I can get this out to you in the mail. Don't worry, guys, this is not my only issue of this volume, so I'm not giving away my only issue. People were messaging me telling me that. I don't know if you will get this before Christmas, Dominique, but you will get it hopefully before New Year's if you send me your address. Anyway, thanks so much for participating. Don't worry if you didn't win, guys. I will have plenty other magic contests coming up here in the future. So today we're taking a look at Thom Parkin's trainer deck. Now, you guys may have remembered that I've reviewed several of Thom Parkin's magic products here, most notably his PEP or Parkin Email Premonition System, which I still argue is the best email prediction, premonition, confabulation type effect that exists out there. So if you want to predict something through email and you want the best, I highly recommend Thom Parkin's PEP. Besides that, I also did review his Instant Card Magician, which is an excellent magic app. You should take a look at it. In my review, I also demoed it there. I did a live demo, live performance, so you can actually see it in action if you haven't seen it already. Now, today I'm taking a look at his trainer deck. Now, this is a tool to help you learn a memorized deck, or a mem deck. If you're not familiar with that, that is a tool that will elevate your card magic. It is literally learning a deck of cards from 1 to 52. To the spectator, it will look like the deck is in a completely random order, but it is not, because you know the position of every single card. With this, you can do some incredible feats of card magic, and just to like touch the surface, you could do things like mind reading. You can do you can do like an invisible deck routine, but without even having an invisible deck. Multiple spectator selection routine that looks completely impossible. You can have an open index at your fingertips, and that's just touching the surface of what you can do with a memorized deck. In fact, I'm going to put out a top 5 review of memorized deck effects that I've used over the years. Now, my own history of this is that I learned the Joyal stack initially because it seemed like the easiest stack to learn at the time when I learned that years ago, and that's what I've been using all along. But unfortunately, it doesn't have a lot of built-in effects, which is why now I'm going back and learning the Aronson stack. I've got about half of it learned now, and that's just from learning very slowly, relaxed, no pressure. And so if I can learn a second stack, then you can learn at least one stack. And I really wanted to learn either Aronson or Mnemonica because there's so much built into each of those stacks. And so when I first started out, though, this tool did not exist. So thank you, Thom Parkin, for doing the legwork and putting this out there. Now, you can pick up either of these decks for around $50, and you can check out the link below to his website where you can order this from. If you live internationally, somewhere really far away, and you don't want to pay for shipping, he also offers an email program, which is about a 90-day program, which costs about like 20 bucks, around there, and you're going to get an image every day sent to your email based on whichever one of these that you want to learn, and you can go that route if you want to learn it that way. Now, I'm going to show you a couple examples of this, how clever this is to help you learn. And the main reason why this is so effective is because you probably have seen different systems out there for trying to memorize like a stack, and many of them are difficult to understand or convoluted, like the peg system. I never really ever got that myself, so I had a hard time with that. But like looking at what Thom Parkin and the artist that he paid came up with, this is absolutely clever. I mean, once you see these cards, like for instance, this Ace of Hearts, which is the 22 position in the Aronson stack, you could see that it's in the shape of a heart. It's one heart and it's two swans facing each other. You'll never forget that image of the Ace of Hearts, and you'll remember that it's in position 22, which is great. Another one that I like is this one, the Five of Hearts, which you can see it takes 5 hearts to make the number 12. And once you see these images and you practice with this, then you immediately will remember the image in your head and do the association. It's kind of funny because after practicing with this for now, like literally almost 2 months, I'm finding that I'm not even really thinking anymore about the image. I'm more just thinking about the card and the number now, which is kind of funny. This one, the Two of Diamonds, the nose is like in the shape of a 13. And these are all really creative. They're completely language independent. So this is great because even if English is not your first language, it won't make any difference because the photos, you know, not photos, I mean the drawings and stuff, the artwork on these is completely just international. The other nice thing is on the back of these, he put the stack all around the edge. And so another thing you can do to help you facilitate learning this, which is what I've done with mine, is that I've blacked out the card. You can see like I used a Sharpie and I blacked out the card that's in that position. So what I could do is I could look at the card, I can look at the back, and I can look at what card is right before and one's right afterwards, and I can just think of, okay, which one goes in between there. And so that's another tool to help you facilitate learning your stack. But obviously nothing beats having the cards and being able to shuffle them in a random order and just go through them one at a time, looking at them and saying to yourself what number it is. So that's really a great tool, and that's why this is so effective. And as I mentioned, I've already learned about half of it going through there. So what is really the only negative aspect of this is that you got to put in some effort to learn this. And I would argue, though, that if you are going to put in the time and the effort, then this is definitely well worth it. You may think, oh, it's kind of expensive. It's like 50 bucks for a deck of cards, but you're really not buying a deck of cards. You're buying a system to help you learn a memorized deck, because it's not that you're learning 1 to 52, because you're really learning what's in each position. I'll give you an example. You may know the alphabet A to Z, but if I ask you what letter is in number 15, you're not going to know that. And that's what you need to know when you do any kind of memorized deck magic. And that's why this tool is just so useful. It's going to help you out, and it's going to help you learn a memorized deck really quickly. And when I put out my top 5 review of memorized deck effects, then you're going to love it, because you're going to be able to do some effects that are impossible, literally impossible. It's going to just blow people away. And people always think that to do memorized deck magic that you have to carry around a deck that's in an order, and then you have to prepare that ahead of time. Wait till you see my top 5 review, because I'm going to be going over a couple of effects that will get you into either full stack or partial stack as well. So a wealth of information is coming your way shortly. Now, in terms of what is the competition out there to Thom Parkin's deck, like, is there anything else out there that you should consider checking out? I did take a look at Rick Lax's Mnemonica Trainer. Again, unfortunately, it's only Mnemonica, so you would have to learn Mnemonica, which is probably the more popular of the 2 stacks. So if you want to learn a stack that probably most magicians are not familiar with, I mean, that's why I went with Aronson here. But if you're interested in Mnemonica, you may be considering Rick Lax's Mnemonica system. His Mnemonica Trainer is a video, so it's not an actual deck. So, I mean, that's one of the negative aspects of it. The other thing with it is that it's very dependent on English and American culture. And when I say American culture, I really mean like US culture. And the reason is because he uses a lot of phrases that come from movies and stuff that you find in American culture that people in other countries will just, they won't understand it. And I'm going to give you one clear example of that. One of those phrases is the following: the Queen is clubbing the cast of Ocean's 11. Now you're probably like, what the heck is Ocean's 11? You may be familiar with the movie or not, If you're not, then you're probably like, what does that mean? You have no idea. So somebody who has never even seen that movie, that will mean nothing to them. And his trainer, his mnemonica trainer, the whole thing is filled with little sayings just like that. So you may find that very difficult if you're not from the US. I mean, you're not familiar with Ace Ventura, you're not familiar with Jack Sparrow and Bob Sponge Pants and stuff like that, then it's going to seem really weird to you, and it's going to be even more difficult to learn this stack, which is why I recommend Thom Parkin's trainer deck, because it's language independent, it's international, there's no American culture issues with this. Everything that you see in these artwork, the drawings, it's like universal. It would be normal in any country. Again, which is why I think this is just far superior. So let's take a look at my rating, and then I'm going to give you guys some final thoughts. So here's my rating, and you can see that I've pretty much rated this almost everything. I've given it like a stellar review, because really, I mean, for originality, there's nothing else out there in the market that can even compete with this. Creativity, for creativity, I gave him 5 out of 5. I mean, he has paid an artist to help him come up with this, very creative, and all of these images are extremely creative. When you look at them, you'll see that several images have more than one thing built in to help you to learn the position of that card, which is going to be great. For practicality, I gave it 4.5 out of 5, and I think it's extremely practical because you could take it with you anywhere. It's almost as practical as it gets. I guess the only thing more practical is to have a person sit there and spoon feed you the information, which is why I gave it 4.5 out of 5. In terms of comparison with other effects, again, I gave it 4.5 out of 5 because I think it's far superior to any other system that exists out there, which this gives us a final rating of 4.83 out of 5. Highly favorable. It's almost got a perfect score. One last thing I will touch on the rating, you may look at the price, that I actually gave this 5 out of 5 for the price because I think it's worth twice what you're paying for it, really. And that is the reason why I'm giving it 5 out of 5 for the price, because in this instance, you're investing your time, you want to make sure you're successful. You don't want to be like those people that they try to learn a memorized deck and then they just give up. You know, they try it for a couple of days, maybe they give it a week and a half, 2 weeks, and they're like, oh, this is too difficult, I can't do it. No, actually, yeah, you can do it, but you just have to take your time, and using an aid like this is just going to greatly facilitate it. I mean, I really wish this existed when I first started years ago, because then I would have just learned it so much easier. So anyway, that's Thom Parkin's trainer deck. I think that this definitely is something you should check out if you're interested in card magic, because the memorized deck is a tool that is extremely powerful. And shortly I'm going to put out my top 5 review. You guys are going to take a look at that and see how strong some of those effects are. I've actually handpicked effects that I've used over the years that are just groundbreaking. They actually will break your spectator's mind. The idea of, just imagine this for 1 second, that you could do the Kennedy Mind Power deck, but without having the Kennedy Mind Power deck. Imagine that. That is the power of the memorized deck, and that is why I'm emphasizing to you guys that if you don't use a memorized deck, you should definitely consider learning it. Anyway, as usual, if you guys have any questions or concerns, just leave them for me below. I welcome all your comments. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning into my magic reviews, and I'll see you on the next one.